Here in Washington State, you may think only Boeing airplanes get exported to foreign countries, but did you know that smaller companies are exporting their products every day? Today, we're going to introduce you to a new program designed to help businesses in Washington State either begin or increase their exporting activities. On March 22nd, a group of business leaders joined the Center for Economic Vitality at Western Washington University to kick off Jumpstart Washington Exports. Tom Dorr tells us about the Center for Economic Vitality.
Western Washington University has an outreach center called the Center for Economic Vitality, which is part of the College of Business and Economics. For over 25 years, we've been giving back to the business community. The Center for Economic Vitality provides three core areas of support to businesses throughout Washington State. One is one-on-one, confidential, no-cost technical assistance to businesses. Second one is research, providing competitive intelligence to businesses to help them make strategic decisions with data and industry information. The third component is a fee-for-service based outreach that we give to primarily other government entities through special projects. The CEV's new export initiative is called Jumpstart Washington Exports. It's funded through a grant from the Washington State Department of Commerce, and it's focused on helping businesses expand sales by going international or expanding their international presence. The Jumpstart Washington Exports initiative has been designed to help Washington State businesses make better choices so they can increase profits, develop relationships with international partners, and improve overall operational performance, all at no cost to our business clients. There are four key components to the Jumpstart Washington Exports initiative. One is one-on-one technical assistance for businesses. Two is providing matchmaking services where we line up an importer or an agent for those businesses and giving them that one-on-one contact. Third component is providing mini trade shows, mini summits for businesses with a special emphasis on Canada. Because of our proximity, we have a good relationship with a lot of the Canadian trade associations, and we're trying to provide those connections to Washington State businesses. The fourth component is providing a virtual marketplace where businesses can come together at a portal and look at opportunities to connect internationally with importers and Washington State products.
United States Representative Rick Larsen was also in attendance at the kickoff. He explains how Jumpstart Washington Exports fits in the national context.
So the National Export Initiative is a proposal that was put forth by President Obama to double the amount of exports in the next 5 years. If we can increase our exports do a better job of creating jobs here in the United States. But in my office, we can help by matching up companies that are already doing some exports to companies that want to do some exports.
Well, I think a successful match would be one where a very small business, say in Eastern Washington, that has a very small manufacturing shop, might find a partner in the Okanagan that's looking for their product, be able to drive up and meet them, create a new business relationship, and not just have that initial tie, but once they sort of get into that, start thinking of other ways that they can increase that. Maybe finding other places in Canada, other places around the world, really have this be a first step for them to get involved in finding markets for their product overseas.
Canada is the state's second largest trading partner. It's the U.S.'s largest trading partner, but China is Washington State's largest export market. Canada's number 2. But it's the closest market to this state, and because so many people who export in Washington State export to Canada, it's relatively easy for those people who already have a foothold in Canada to increase those exports. So rather than having to learn a new culture, a new language, or send trade missions abroad to places that we don't have a lot of familiarity with, Canada's a known entity to most Washington exporters. And so there's huge potential there for increasing that trade, and I think it's a market we really need to look at.
I mean, 25% of our company is based on export sales, and the majority of our growth plans for the next 5 years tied into export sales.
One question many businesses ask before starting to export is, what about the financial risk? The CEV is also working with the Export Finance Assistance Center of Washington to help answer that question.
we get involved with Center for Economic Vitality. One, Center for Economic Vitality will help them establish a market and a buyer in Canada or in other countries. When they speak to the piece about how to get paid and how to mitigate risk, that's where they can involve us. And again, we provide that consultative role. Again, we can oftentimes the company isn't aware what their bank service could provide to support trade, or if their bank can't support that transaction, we can introduce them to, like I said, banks, non-bank lenders, credit insurers, so that they can affect the transaction.
Jumpstart Washington Exports is funded by the Washington State Department of Commerce.
Our job will be to collaborate with Jumpstart Washington Exports. My mandate is statewide. I look at companies statewide. So what I hope to do is to spot, identify, qualify, and refer great Washington companies to this group so that they can work with them to get them ready to go into the Canadian market.
Theo Wani Classical Mouthpieces is an example of a small company that is extremely successful in exporting.
Hi, I'm Theo Wani, and this is
Tom Wani
of Theo Wani Classic Mouthpieces, and we make the world's highest quality and most innovative saxophone mouthpieces right here in our machine shop in Bellingham, Washington. I have studied saxophone mouthpieces really, really hard, and we together have figured out how to manufacture them in such a way that we can achieve every one of my goals in making a saxophone mouthpiece, and that has led us to making the world's highest quality and most innovative products.
Export sales have been a big part of our business. We have grown our sales, including our international sales, over 120% 4 years in a row, and so we are continually looking for new markets and have high expectations of continuing that type of growth. The CEV has helped us a number of ways. We meet regularly, and when we do, we have looked at the risks and opportunities available to us internationally and developed strategies and tactics to continue the growth we've experienced in the past. The CEV has also encouraged us, when we're looking at export markets, to identify some areas that we haven't thought of before, whether it be new countries or some of the intrinsic variables that come around when you get bigger and bigger that you just wouldn't think of when you're a smaller company.
So to expand what Tom was saying, at the Center for Economic Vitality, we look at the knowledge gained, such as, from my perspective, what kinds of products the international markets want. It's very different. In Europe, for example, from the Germany trade show we were just at, there's a need and a desire for a very warm-sounding, traditional-sounding mouthpiece. In the United States, we like our rock and roll and our smooth jazz. We go for a very bright sounding mouthpiece like our Durga, right? So we talk at the CEV at how to best work within those markets, and that's helping us with export.
Many businesses are intimidated by exporting, but I have seen firsthand that is simply not the case. We can walk you through the process to build you up, to help you to take advantage of the world of international trade that is out there. Now has never been a better time to export. Combination of the dollar, the world we live in, and the global economy. To me, the question is, can you afford not to think about exporting?
The Center for Economic Vitality invites you to call for an appointment. This is Sophia Padbury reporting.